On the Fringe with Dan radio style. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. Our little Oompa Loompa is possibly going to be heading towards the direction of trouble. We don't have anything major yet. Not trying to be clickbaity, but definitely one of the major stories we've got today, and he's not looking good. RFK Jr. is coming out with some pretty bad evidence against him. And also finding out that this dude's been making gobs of money over the past couple of years. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. We've got a lot going on. Trump doing some great stuff, of course. As always, have a really good music show. I kind of get more and more excited as I think about it. So that's coming up here from my standpoint in about 3 hours. There we go. I'll do math. I'll figure it out. But yeah, a lot going on. So hopefully we can get right into it. I wanted to start here, if I can. So this was a good reminder, and again, I don't know. This is, I think, part of my calling, guys. So for those of you that hate when I do this, I don't think there's that many of you, by the way. I think most of you appreciate when I do this. But I wanted to remind people, one, of what Brian Cates says. First off, not a huge Brian Cates fan. I'm going to come out and just say that right up front. But in this particular case, I'm agreeing with Brian Cates, shocking as that might be. What if an entire class of MAGA social media influencers were created to emotionally manipulate you, keep you frustrated, keep you angry, and most importantly, keep you blind to what's really going on, so they can try to destroy the Trump team's support at this crucial time? It's an excellent question. One of the things that they do, and I've seen this, I see it a lot, and I will be honest, I click on stuff sometimes that I know is clickbait, I know it's going to be stupid, but there is a part of me that's like, okay, I kind of want to hear, does he even get close to what the clickbait title says? And I'm always disappointed. And I fall for it too. But it's one of the things, when they emotionally grab you, it's almost guaranteed is heading in the direction of manipulation already. That's how you know. That's how you know. And one of the other sides to this, there's two sides to this, right? There's the side of, oh, they're presenting it and they're trying to emotionally manipulate me. We need to be aware of that. The other side of this, the important, I think, side of this, is many of us have preconceived areas in our lives that are off limits, that you can't talk about, you can't go against, you can't step outside of their comfort zone of what they understand. And if you do, you offend them. I'm not saying just me to you. I'm also saying when you have discussions with other people, you're going to find there's certain topics that are essentially third rail topics. So you're going to get electrocuted if you touch it, right? Israel is a big one. There's been a number of people that have gotten mad at me over the time, saying I'm too pro-Israel and all this. First off, very pro-Jewish community. The gentleman I bought the house from is Jewish. I've had friends that are Jewish. I got no qualms against the Jewish people, and I have no qualms against the Israeli people. And I always have a problem when anyone sort of just goes against a people. Do I think there is a deep state darkness that exists within Israel? Yes, of course. Do I think that also exists within the United States? Yes, of course. So for me, it's one of the things where a lot of people are like, you're just too positive on Israel. I don't like you because of that, and I'm never going to trust you. All right, I mean, fine. But that's one of those. Flynn is another one of those very interestingly contested people. Met him, shook his hand, doesn't mean I can vouch for the dude. But I actually think he's a good guy. Whatever. I don't know. He hasn't done anything to show me otherwise. I don't care what someone's done 10 years ago. I care actually what they've been doing, especially over the last 4 or 5 years. I know Flynn was putting his money where his mouth was when all was said and done. He was out there. I was at a number of the events he was at. I've heard him speak. So, again, Christ is another one. A lot of people have very firm beliefs on what Christ is and how you have to believe it their specific way, or else they don't want anything to do with you. I'm not right, wrong, and different. It's not an issue with that. It's an issue of people have different feelings, different experiences with their creator. We should be more open to that, I feel like. I feel like it's very weird when we're not. Q is kind of another one. Flat Earth is another one. So we all have our little comfort zones or our areas of contention, and we need to understand everything we hold dear, every single thing we hold dear. We need to realize that we have to look at it again. We need to realize that maybe it's not as 100% sure as we used to think it was. And as I've said frequently, the more that I learn, it's the more I realize I don't know. Because there's just so much more to learn that's just like, wow. Like the more I understand this little thing and it just opened up a doorway to, 15 other things all of a sudden, it's like, But also on top of that, I realize we have no clue, really, what's happened in the history of this planet, in the history of us. We're grabbing, we're gleaning, we're looking for ideas and stuff to try to make sense of it. But a lot of these documents have been messed with. And certainly, even channeling is not 100% pure. I've been talking about the Law of One. It's a very good source of channeled material, but it's not 100% accurate. Can't be, really. So we've got to understand that we're going to get little bits and components, and it's going to come to us from universe, source, life, God, creator, I don't fill in blank, Yahweh, Jehovah, whatever. Right? Hell, even if you're Hindu, I don't know, one of Vishnu is going to show it to you, right? Like, that's cool. I don't care. I don't care. It does not matter to me how you view your spiritual relationship with the Creator and with your reality. As long as you have some sort of semblance of that, then your reality can communicate to you, and you can start paying attention to it, and you can actually start to make a huge difference. That is how Creator talks to us in the present moment, in our physical world. Not some book that's talking about something forever ago, not some awesome movement that was sort of a psyop on both sides that happened many years ago, though it's all relevant. It all still is relevant. But it's not everything. It's not the end-all be-all. We've got to open up to the possibility, one, just looking at people from their actions. Maybe they're wrong about how they feel about something at the moment, but their actions support good, kindness, those kinds of things. It's just important because, like Brian Cates is saying, there's a lot of people out there that, in some cases unwittingly, are intentionally fear-porning. There's a lot of people out there. I mean, I don't want to call him out, but he's huge, and the guy's wonderful. I love a lot of who he has on his show, but he has some really bad people on his show, too. It's Nino Rodriguez. Nino's awesome. He's really good friends with people I'm close to, but he has people on his show that are just very, very negative, very dark in their belief of what's happening. And Nino kind of believes it. Right, wrong, and different. I'm not saying he's wrong either. I don't know. But there's a lot of things, and it starts to freak people out when, in reality, we need to keep our energy focused on what we're trying to accomplish, not be worried about what they're going to do to us. Well, maybe we should have them worried about what we're going to do to them. So there's different ways to look at all this. So again, it was kind of a beautiful point. Spent a long time on it, but whatever. First Lady Trump posted this. As families across the nation gather to celebrate Easter, I extend my gratitude to the dedicated East Wing staff for their tireless effort in preparing the upcoming White House Easter egg roll. This cherished tradition, rooted in history since 1878, brings joy, storytelling, and laughter to America's children. I look forward to watching all the smiles light up this memorable day, on Monday. May the Good Friday inspire hope and faith for all Americans and our friends around the globe. Very, very nice. Donald Trump giving us a quick reminder of what he's here to make us better, make us greater, and get our military back to strength. What would happen if you used a Donald Trump signed pen to sign something that Donald Trump was signing? Like, what would happen? That would be weird, right? Some sort of hole in the matrix would open up. Trump is declaring April 19th, which is tomorrow, Saturday, a day of commemoration. By the way, happy Good Friday, by the way. Trump declares April 19th a day of commemoration for battles of Lexington and Concord, the shot heard round the world. Obviously a very special time in history. And odd, I guess it was weird to me, and I just, all the historians out there are like, Dan, you're such an idiot. Sure, I'll wear that with pride today. But I was just shocked, I guess, to find out that literally our centennial, whatever, is coming up a year from July, and I think this is our 250th anniversary right now, essentially, or tomorrow, from when the Revolutionary War started, right? Isn't this the Minutemen? Yeah, the Revolutionary War. And that's kind of a trip because it what was barely over a year, I guess, of fighting. I don't know. I guess was under the impression that we fought longer than that against England. But yeah, it seems like it was just over a year. which is a long time, I guess. I mean, I wouldn't want to fight 5 days, right? Like, so that's very awesome. Dr. Oz's granddaughter got sick during their little press conference, which, by the way, is interesting what Trump was talking about at the exact same moment, and then she gets sick. Sort of strange. She was a minor. She's okay. We'll get there in a second, but you can tell they're holding her like she was going to throw up or something. I don't know what was happening, but Dr. Oz got involved. Check it out.
Proceed, it's like really very good. But
Have you spoken
with Iran, they can't have a nuclear weapon, and if they have a nuclear weapon, you'll all be very unhappy. You'll all be very unhappy.
Have you spoken
your
with
life,
Xi?
your life,
Who is leading
your
those
life
trade
will be in
talks?
great danger.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Mr. President.
Yeah.
Press out. Everybody out.
Press out.
Leave everything, guys. There you go.
You want to?
Yeah, we're gonna leave. You guys will leave papers. Everybody else. Please move.
You leaving everything?
We'll drop it. Yeah, drop the cameras.
So that is, we're guessing, Dr. Oz's daughter or something like that. But yeah, I mean, yeah, she's got her hand over her mouth, and I don't know what's going on. Maybe she's going to throw up or something. Boy, that's like Secret Service level stuff there. This is Levitt, right? Levitt, sorry. Like literally going to take some puke for the team. You go, girl. I don't think she actually threw up. Thank God. No, that would be oddly strange. But yeah, apparently this was Dr. Oz's family member, young family member, collapsed during the swearing-in ceremony. Apparently she, transmuted something. But Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has sworn in Oz as the administrator for the Center for Medicare and Services. After the ceremony was over, they went back and talked. Everything was, I guess, okay. The girl's fine, but yeah, obviously concerning nonetheless. Okay, a lot going on with the shooter at Florida State University. We're finding out a few more things, and oddly, we're having a fun little spin put on the story by a friend that knew him really well, and he's saying all sorts of crazy stuff. We're going to get to all that. So here is essentially what the police are announcing. We got a couple different things of police talking about what they've figured out, and we've got a couple things to add to it, but not a whole lot, but it'll make sense.
And we understand that you all have been devastated because of this person's actions. The question as it relates to who is the shooter is 20-year-old Phoenix Eichner. And he's the son of a Leon County Sheriff deputy. Our deputy Eichner, has been with the Leon County Sheriff's Office for over 18 years. She has a tremendous job that she's done. Her service to this community has been exceptional. Unfortunately, her son had access to one of her weapons, and that was one of the weapons that was found at the scene. And we are continuing that investigation into how that weapon was used and what other weapons perhaps he may have had access to.
Yeah, so obviously he was using a revolver that belonged to his, I've heard mother, and I believe she is the one that's actually the police officer. So that's interesting. And this gentleman kind of explains how this happened, which they're trying to make it like, trying to spin it into something like, well, they were not protecting their stuff, or how'd this happen? How'd they get the service revolver? Man, this explains it a little.
Do we know if the weapon that was used was his parents' service weapon? And if so, what are the rules around storing service weapons?
Right. No, that's a good question. This weapon was a weapon that the deputy previously used. A lot of times, many agencies, mine included, when we transition to a new handgun, the officers are allowed to purchase the handgun they used prior. And correct me if I'm wrong, Sheriff, but I believe that's the case here. This was a handgun that deputy used prior to them transitioning to a new handgun, and so it was her personal handgun.
Do we know?
Right, so her personal handgun. This guy didn't, do anything weird to get it. Granted, he supposedly started with a shotgun and then ran out of shells and then he pulled out the handgun at that point and started shooting people from there. We've got a former classmate, apparently, that's coming out and now saying that this Eichner fella was a white supremacist and a Trump supporter. Of course, right? Because they need to make it look like that. Problem is, well, this is the problem. And this has been scrubbed, but we still got it. This was on his social media, right? This Eichner fella. This is his fight Trump and the GOP agenda, stand with Palestine, stop attacks on immigrants. Doesn't seem like this guy is necessarily pro-Trump at all, in fact. In fact, he's much the opposite. So, yeah, these people are usually pretty entertaining, usually not for good reason. Phoenix Ickner, a political science major, said, I think it's too little or a little too late. He's Trump already going to be inaugurated on January 20th, and there's not really much you can do unless you outright revolt, and I don't think anyone wants that. Yet, his friend is telling everybody he was a white supremacist and a Trump supporter. Does that sound contrived or something? Maybe the kid had some history, something that the feds were very easy or someone was able to take advantage of. So, yeah, more details are emerging about this Florida State University shooter suspect. Motive is still remaining a bit of a mystery. He wounded 6, left 2, passed away. But we've got months before the shooting. Ickner was quoted in an FSU student newspaper, and we just read that. The article was later updated to say an earlier version of this article included a quote from the gunman in April 17th shooting at FSU and was removed at the decision of our editor to maintain ethical journalistic standards, something that today's media doesn't understand at all. And they were trying to avoid amplifying the voice of an individual responsible for violence. I wish more people understood this. It's important. But again, curiosity is the thing that kills the cat every single time. Leon County Sheriff Walt McNeil also said Ickner has been steeped in the Leon County Sheriff's Office family, engaged in a number of training programs that we have, according to the Associated Press. So it's not a surprise to us that he had access to weapons. The 2 people who were killed were not FSU students, oddly, according to the authorities, who believe the suspect acted alone. So yeah, this is our boy right here. The white supremacist, supposedly. Trump was asked if he's going to go ahead and get rid of guns.
2 deceased following that shooting at Florida State University. Following and amid that, is there any changes that you want to see to gun legislation? Anything you see broken with gun laws in our
Well, I'm
country?
going to have to, look, I'm a big advocate of the Second Amendment. I have been from the beginning. I protected it. And these things are terrible. But the gun doesn't do the shooting. The people do. It's, a phrase that's used probably too often. I will tell you that it's a shame. I'm just hearing about it now. I just hear about it. I know the area very well. I know the school very well. I know everything about it. It's Florida. And we'll have more to say about it later. I'll have
What
to
do
see
you
what
mean when you
happens.
say there will be more to say about it?
Only in terms of what happened. As far as legislation is concerned, this has been going on for a long time. I have an obligation to protect the Second Amendment. I ran on the Second Amendment, among many other things, and I will always protect the Second Amendment.
Yeah, and that's what he's going to continue to do and should. Thank God, right? Thank God for Trump. Turns out, and this is Trump truthing this, turns out you can't have your principal residence in Virginia and be Attorney General of New York. You can't say your dad's your husband or claim a 5 units is a 4. But that's what Letitia James did while going after Trump for the same thing. You've got to be kidding me.
This may be the biggest irony I've ever seen in American politics, that she's now, it looks like she's engaged in the same thing she charged President Trump with. I mean, turns out you can't have your principal residence in Virginia and be the Attorney General of New York. Turns out you can't on a mortgage form say that your dad is actually your husband, and you also can't say that you got a 4-unit property that's actually 5 units. Those are the 3 things that it looks like she did over a long period of time, and yet she had the gall to go after President Trump. You got to be kidding me. So, yeah, I think this is real. We'll see. Her comments so far, she's been kind of quiet. Of course, she does a typical thing the left always does. The left will they'll always accuse us of what they're doing. And the other thing they always do, the left will tell a lie. Trump did something wrong. Big media will report it. Big tech will amplify it. And then if you tell the truth, they call you names. And that's exactly what she did. I think she called President Trump and his administration bullies for simply pointing out that it looks like she lied on these forms, and she did it to get better terms and a better rate on the loans. So she was doing it for personal gain, and you're not supposed to do those kind of things.
The exact same thing they accused him of. Except she's actually cost the state money, because it would have cost more money to get the extra, because of the fifth bedroom or whatever, or fifth unit. It would have cost extra money for her that would have gone to the state. So there actually was damages in this case. Trump got a loan from somebody, a good loan, a decent rate, was able to buy the property for what he wanted to buy it for, paid the loan back, paid it back early. Nobody lost money. Nobody did anything bad. Nothing bad happened. Nobody was injured. In her case, somebody was actually injured, weren't they? So just in, President Trump's DOJ has appealed Judge Boasberg's contempt ruling for deporting over 200 people to El Salvador, despite a court order halting such actions. The appeal argues that the executive branch's authority overrides the judiciary attempt to enforce the halt, citing constitutional separation of powers. Kind of beautiful what's happening here. So what we're also starting to see, again, Letitz James attacks Trump, Fouchi attacks Trump. And Fauci's story, by the way, for you guys that are like really, really want it bad, like, you know, this is the reason you clicked, try to fast forward to when I'm over in this area, because that's where the story is. So we got a ways to go. That's a bummer for you. But we've got all these people that are been going and attacking Trump, basically, that are, well, the truth is starting to come out about them. Convicted FBI lawyer spared from prison by Boasberg, far more involved in Russia probe than known. So the judge, who has emerged as a top foe of Trump deportation efforts, previously let a well-known Trump-Russia collusion hoax proponent off the hook. Newly classified data from Crossfire Hurricane records show the FBI's Kevin Kleinsmith was deeply involved in the bogus Russiagate saga. Yes, so convicted lawyer Kevin Kleinsmith, who James Judge Boasberg gave a slap on the wrist for his crimes years before becoming a public foe of President Donald Trump's deportation policies, was more deeply involved in the deeply flawed Crossfire Hurricane investigation than previously known. Kleinsmith, who worked on both the FBI's Hillary Clinton email investigation and on the Trump-Russian collusion inquiry, pleaded guilty to falsifying a document during the Bureau's efforts to renew FISA authority to wiretap Carter Page, who was an advisor to Trump's 2016 campaign. Newly declassified details about Kleinsmith's involvement include wide swaths of information about his role in the case. He was a key go-to for former FBI lawyer Lisa Page and fired FBI specialist agent Peter Strzok throughout the debunked collusion saga, and a main driver in obtaining a FISA warrant against Page based on the infamous Steele dossier, right? So he worked through all this nonsense. He was heavily involved, lied, and Boasberg ruled this week that the probable cause exists to hold Trump's administration official in criminal contempt after they violated his orders by continuing a deportation flight. And this dude let FISA, who this guy Boasberg was on the FISA court, let this guy who literally changed a document to reverse and make it opposite from what it actually said, so they could start the entire Crossfire Hurricane. This one lie that Kleinsmith did started the entire thing. And Boasberg gives him a slap on the wrist. And he's going after Trump because he didn't turn the planes around. I personally love it. I think it's awesome, and I think Boasberg's screwed, because I think more stuff's going to continue to come out. A federal judge on Thursday issued new restrictions on Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency, extending a ban on its access to America's personal data in Social Security Administration systems. U.S. District Judge Ellen Hollander temporarily blocked Musk and DOGE from accessing America's personal data in the Social Security Administration system last month. The ban was set to expire Thursday. Well, she's making it continued. She said unprecedented, unfettered access to virtually SSA's entire data systems in order to accomplish its goals, Hollander wrote. Meanwhile, the labor unions and advocacy groups that had brought the lawsuit against DOGE had succeeded in showing that their members will suffer irreparable harm in the absence of a preliminary injunction, because they know the second we get in there and we see the payments going out to Social Security by Social Security number, and then we see that certain Social Security numbers are being used multiple times, when we do that, it will definitely hurt the labor unions. Because a lot of these illegals are in these unions. You see, this giant ball doesn't want to let go. We'll keep fighting. We're going to win. I'm unquestionable. But it's taken its toll on some, that's for sure. A U.S. judge on Friday barred the Trump administration from implementing a new policy allowing it to rapidly deport hundreds, if not thousands, of migrants to countries other than their own without giving them a chance to show they fear being persecuted, tortured, or killed there. This is hilarious. This guy's not going to win. It's already been decided, too. It's kind of funny. U.S. District Judge Brian Murphy in Boston last month had issued an order that temporarily blocked the administration from fast-tracking deportations, hobbling its ability to remove migrants subject to final orders who in some cases have legal protections preventing them from being sent back to their countries of origin. Again, if they're terrorists, and we know they're terrorists, and they're of this certain group of terrorists, they don't get to say anything. This judge has no standing. And again, I look forward to seeing that play out. And all these judges that are doing this, these guys are toast, because the reason they're doing this is because they are, I don't want to say corrupt, of course, but they've done something wrong. They've got someone holding something over their head. Could be Epstein, could be Diddy, could be something else, but they've got something on them. Sometimes it's as easy as demonstrating they've been cheating on their spouse or any number. And there's just a lot of different ways that they control people. But people in exclusive power generally have done something very exclusively wrong. This guy's probably one of them. A lot of stuff's going to come out. And I think that's where also waiting on the Epstein list a little bit is not as bad as so many people are black and white about. It's just another one of those things that, you can't say. You have to say that the Epstein list must come out today, right now, or else you're somehow a shill or whatever. That's just not true. We are playing a game. There is a major thing happening, and that Epstein list is a major trump card, no pun intended. The timing of it will be perfect, or at least utilized to its maximum benefit. So, again, we get as many of these people to commit themselves, to throw themselves in front of justice, if you will, to try to take control away from President Trump. And then we let the truth come out, because then it makes sense, right? But if you send the truth out before somebody has a chance to really F themselves even worse, that's not the same. You're not getting maximum effect. Capital One has received conditional approval from the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency to acquire and merge with Discover Financial Services. I'm assuming Discover is finally going away. Capital One's probably buying it to get it removed from the system. This weird, Discover as a third choice that's not accepted everywhere. Anyway, it's kind of a pain in the ass the way it all worked out. That would be my hope. That would be my guess. Anyone that's got a Discover card is ultimately going to end up, I bet you, with a Capital One Visa card is what's going to happen. Whether you like it or not, probably what they're going to do. We'll see. We'll see if it plays out in that regard, but it'll be something to that effect. It might not be Visa, but I have a feeling it'll probably be Visa. It's more likely. Trump has for months privately discussed firing Fed Chair Powell. This is a fun little thing that's going on right now. So Trump is putting a lot of pressure on the Fed. Trump, I think, and this is, again, the way it's playing out, and he kind of knows, he's kind of taking the slings, if you will, on this, the arrows. But Trump knew when he did the tariff thing that it was going to affect the stock market. He knew it. And he knew the stock market was that fragile. And so he did it kind of to show everybody, look, I've got the power to completely screw the world markets if I want. It was Trump's kind of way of hitting the gavel down on the table. Then he pulled back, made it look like he came to, and all the people that were freaking out on him, all right, yeah, I came to because of that. That's why I came back on this. I don't think that's it at all. I think he knew all along this was going to crash the markets. And he knew all he had to do was pull it back. Now, to be honest, I don't think he totally knew how hard or good, I think it was one of those things all right, we'll see I'm pretty sure this is going to jack the markets, but I don't know exactly how bad. We'll find out. Now, there's a few sides to this. One, we ultimately need the Fed out. The Fed has to go. It's a private organization. It's a private central bank. They create debt. That's the only way their system works. It just can't continue. So the Fed has to go. The central banks have to go. They're all privately owned. And, many say it's the Rothschilds and the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers, but I think it's actually families above that, by the way. But that said, yeah, they own all of us, essentially. So we have to get the Fed out. But the only way we can get the Fed out is to demonstrate that the Fed is not doing what it was chartered to do. The only way to get the Fed to not do what it's chartered to do is to, one, have a situation that's so heavily political, like it is right now, and have a situation where Trump has done everything as far as making the economy better, and if the Fed would lower the rates, then this economy could really take off. But the reason it's not is because the Fed's not lowering the rates. And since he's not, it's causing a problem. So we've got this very interesting situation now where Trump's very easily saying, look, I think Jerome Powell's responsible for this. He's being political. Everyone else is raising rates in Europe and everywhere else are lowering rates. Why isn't he? And this is going to be the thing. Now, he's talking about firing him. The reason he's doing that is because he's trying to keep all the focus on the personnel part, not on what I was just talking about. He wants everyone to focus on hey, Jerome Powell is a problem. I don't like him at all. And I'll tell you what, if I want to fire him, I'm going to fire him. So all the news media is going to talk about that because Trump's trying to be a dictator. They're going to totally push that story. That's what they're going to run with. Trump wants them to. Because again, like with Fauci, he puts the people up front. He's putting Jerome Powell up front. Now, what you have to understand is that implies the stock market has to tank some. Not only does it have to tank some, now again, supposedly only 8% of you guys are in the stock market, right? Hopefully a bunch of you guys are not anymore. I'm sure there's quite a few of you that haven't. Point is, 8%, whatever. Stock market affects super rich people to a large extent. And they need that to come down significantly enough. Maybe not too much because people's retirements, but significantly enough to be able to blame the Fed. And essentially go, you're out, you're fired. Right here in the contract, it states if this happens such and such, and you don't do what's necessary to fix it, then you're not actually watching out for our monetary policy. You're actually more politically involved than you should be. Something to that effect. So this whole thing is going to get very interesting. Now, Trump just signaled that he's not going to do this tit-for-tat China tariffs, and this stuff may be near the end, right? And he said this, he goes, I don't want them to go higher because at a certain point you make it where people don't buy. So I may not want to go higher, or I may not want to even go up to that level. I may want to go to less because, you want to buy, you want people to buy, and at a certain point, people aren't going to buy. So Trump seems to be working with China, and that's what this is. Him pulling back a little bit, him publicly stating something to the effect of, like the way it could be looked at from China's perspective is, Trump was slightly wrong, or he's wrong, so he's kind of acknowledging that, sort of. But again, it's a game right now. And Trump is letting the world know and letting the deep state know, dude, I've got the keys to the thing, man. If I want to crash this biatch, I will. U.S. plans port fees for Chinese ships to revitalize American maritime industrial base. Kind of an interesting thing that they're planning on doing. Basically, it's like scaled over time, if you will. So as of April 17th, 2025, a fee of $0 per net ton is happening for per arriving vessel. Effective October 14th, that fee goes up to $50 per net ton. These ships are bringing in many, many, many tons. Net ton, though, so not gross. So I'm assuming it doesn't count the containers, which is cool. So all the stuff inside, the net weight, that goes up to $80 and $110, then $140 by 2028. This is definitely going to bring in money. This is one thing that is going to directly affect shipping. And for every container, they're going to have to pay an extra fee per ton. So that's going to affect prices, but a little differently than tariffs. That's kind of interesting as well. Because again, We might buy stuff. I don't know. I mean, there might be ways where some of it flies in. I don't even know. There might be other ways to get it here. Or to Trump's point, rather than sailing it all the way here, why don't you just make your factory here so we can make some of this stuff here? Again, this is going to have an effect to do a lot of those types of things. Trump says nobody can compete in the United States. We're going to make a very good deal with China. This is actually, I bet, the cabinet meeting. I was thinking the other day when they were in the White House in the Oval Office. Nah, but this I think is actually like a legit cabinet meeting. This looks like all the people. And, of course, the press is there, which was kind of my point or question yesterday, I think it was. Needless to say, it's pretty cool. Check it out.
You have said in the past that you aren't worried about allies growing closer to China as a result of your tariffs. And this week we saw Chinese President Xi Jinping visit with 3 of our allies. Should you be worried that they're growing closer?
No.
Will you pick up the phone?
Nobody can compete with us. Nobody.
You said that you have a good relationship with President Xi. Why not pick up the phone and call him and make a deal?
Oh, we're going to make a deal. We'll have a deal. I think we're going to make a very good deal with China.
Do you plan to reach out to him and call him?
I think that you will see we'll make a very good deal with China.
Mr. President.
We'll make a very good deal. And again, the press keeps asking questions, trying to act like they're the smart ones in the room when they're not, and we all know that. So is the Fed trying to crash stocks? That's really kind of what I was getting into, is this whole story. It's a good story by Zero Hedge. Talks about how basically, what was it, Wednesday, about $11 trillion of wealth evaporated. Some of it came back, but actually the stocks aren't doing super, super good today. At least they weren't. I think S&P was up, I think, and Dow and NASDAQ were down a little bit, whatever. So yeah, U.S. dollar kind of breaking multi-year support. Like it's been kind of up and down a little bit. What was this one here? This is the 10-year Treasury. It's been coming up, and then we've been having some issues. So yeah, they're trying to get it, I think, up to the 5% mark, I think. If I understand how this is all supposed to work. Whatever the case is, that's kind of what Trump's doing with this whole Fed thing with Powell. Whether Powell knows it or if he's just, trying to fight against us and Trump's just forcing him to fight in the specific way that he's going to, in which case we'll accomplish what we want, or whether it's all being done, with the military standing behind them with a weapon and they're on camera, maybe, who knows? Here's the markets. I was looking at the cryptos. Dow's down about, is this right? Let's make sure it's fresh. Yeah. Dow's down about 1.33%. It's at 39,142, so it's gone down a chunk. I'm kind of curious, actually. Let's just for a second pull it up. Let's go back let's go back 6 months. Yeah, so it was up around 45, and now we're down at 39. It's gone down a lot. 6,000 just since February. Now, again, they're blaming Trump. I'm sure if we go back, let's go back 3 years and see. Yeah, so it hit a high right when Trump was in office, and then, so it looks like it's all intentional for the most part. We'll see what happens. NASDAQ is down a little. S&P's barely up. I had those backwards, I guess. No, I had them right. Gold is pretty steady, but 33.28. It was 33.50 is the high it hit, but it's still doing very well. Oil's gone up a bit too. Got down below 60 for a short period of time. This actually makes our oil people here in the States happy. Look, I just want to remind you guys, drslikesgold.com. drslikesgold.com. If by chance you are invested in a 401k or IRA in the stock market, I would highly recommend at least getting the ball moving, just getting everything happening. And then, if you actually want to pull the pin, if you will, and make sure the stocks are at a decent place. Because right now the market's been going up, down, up, down, up, down. Price of gold's going up, up, up. We're heading in a direction, folks. Trump talking about the stuff he's doing with Powell and all that. There's just something going on. I don't trust it. Just be careful, be leery. So drslikesgold.com, drslikesgold.com. LA Fire Department says homeless involved in 1/3 of fires. This statistic freaks me out. First off, this Mayor Karen Bass now trying to blame homeless. I think the homeless for sure are responsible for probably more than 1/3 of the fires, but whatever. What she said that freaked me out is that homeless individuals make up just 1.2% of LA's population. She says just in this article, just 1.2% of LA's population. That's insane. Let's put that into real numbers. LA County is 9.6 million people. 9.6 million people. What, 1% of that's 96,000 people are homeless. Just 96,000 people in LA County are homeless. 96,000 homeless people in LA County. That blows my mind. Just 1.2%? Are you shitting me? Karen Bass, man, we got to get her ass out fast. Like a largemouth bass. Catch her and get her out of there. Gavin Newsom, speaking of stupid people, he's going to sue DOGE over cuts to the AmeriCorps. Because AmeriCorps, the volunteers that were paid for by AmeriCorps, was how he fought fires. That's literally what he's pissed about. In a profane statement, Newsom claimed that Trump was telling California and America, go F yourself. No, Gavin Newsom. Donald Trump is telling you, Gavin Newsom, to go fuck yourself or fuck your own face. Take your pick. He's not telling us Californians that, and us Californians know that. He's telling you, Gavin Newsom, you specifically, to go fuck yourself. So let's just be really clear there. But I'll continue. Newsom is asking the federal government for $40 billion in wildfire relief aid, so he can rebuild the town that's burnt down. And he had to borrow over $6 billion just to fund California's version of Medicaid Medi-Cal this month. But he's also recently signed $50 million into spending into law to fund these lawsuits against Trump's administration's national policies and to provide legal services to illegal aliens whom the Trump administration has determined it will deport. So this is going to hurt us because I thought I had the part up here. The Peace Corps focuses Elon Musk cut the program. 600 employees who accepted this voluntary severance. He claimed AmeriCorps volunteers were essential to the response to recent wildfires. He's using volunteers paid for by someone else to do things that he should be handling. Good job, Gavin Newsom. This is why we love you. Emails are revealing that the White House's detailed revisions to transcript of President Biden's interview with special counsel. 52 pages of Judicial Watch put out of documents from the U.S. Department of Justice showing White House staffers suggesting edits to transcripts of President Biden's interview with special counsel Robert Hur. 52 different pages of just that one interview. Robert Hur, the guy that's helping. Who the hell's he helping right now? He's Harvard. He's helping Harvard right now. He's good. You go ahead. You guys got Robert Hur, one of the best and brightest, it seems. Education Department requests Harvard records over alleged inaccurate foreign financial disclosures. Education Department announced this. It's requesting records from Harvard, allegations of inaccurate foreign financial disclosures. Federal agency said the Ivy League's foreign reports show incomplete and inaccurate disclosures. As a recipient of federal funding, Harvard University must be transparent about its relations with foreign sources and governments. Unfortunately, our review indicated that Harvard has not been fully transparent or complete in its disclosure, which is both unacceptable and unlawful. This is what Linda McMahon's saying. Harvard's going down in a big way. Now, they've got the money to fight this, and I'm sure they've got plenty of lawyers that are, chomping at the bit, if you will. But they aren't probably going to win. This is going to be fantastic. Trump administration's threatening Harvard's ability to host international students now. The heightened pressure comes after Trump administration cut $2.2 billion in grants and $60 million in contracts to the university amid a broader campaign against elite higher education institutions. Trump said earlier this week that Harvard should lose its tax-exempt status, accused the Ivy League school of pushing politics and ideology. Department of Homeland Security Kristi Noem warned Harvard that its certification to enroll foreign students is contingent upon it complying with federal immigration rules. Sounds like Harvard is making some big mistakes. We're drilling into them. We've got a magnifying glass on them, and it sounds like they're going to be in a world of hurt. U.S. Appeals Court has denied the U.S. Justice Department's request to prevent a lower court from probing whether the Trump administration complied with an order to return a man wrongfully deported to El Salvador. So they're continuing. This is going to go up to the Supreme Court, so whatever. They're not going to stop it. Trump's going to keep deporting people. He's not going to bring this guy back. In fact, we'll get there in a second. Though hilarious, Democrat Senator Chris Van Hollen has once again been denied entry to the El Salvador prison holding the deported MS-13 member. What's kind of weird is they ended up getting this guy out somehow. Kilmar Abrego Garcia, miraculously risen from the death camps and torture, now sipping margaritas with Senator Van Hollen in the tropical paradise of El Salvador. This is Nayib Bukele that put this out. I'm going to follow him. But basically, Kilmar Abrego Garcia, he's no longer in prison. They're not torturing him. They're not, oh my God, they're going to do all these horrible things to him. No, the dude's not even, he was out drinking drinks with the senator. This MS-13 gang member that the senator cares more about than people here. Now, it's funny, Nayib Bukele says, dude's like a first-class troll, I love it. He goes, now that he's been confirmed healthy, he gets the honor of staying in El Salvador's custody. Meaning, he ain't leaving the state. Again, Dan Scavino Jr. posted this, Nayib Bukele, I love chess. Holding a margarita, playing chess. And that's what this whole thing has been about. And guess what? The Democrats fell into the trap yet again. They look horrible everywhere they go. Donald Trump truthed out. Senator Chris Van Hollen of Maryland looks like a fool yesterday, standing in El Salvador begging for attention from the fake news media or anyone. Grandstander. Yeah, there actually was a press release or something he was doing, and there was literally nobody there. He was just standing there by himself. It was kind of funny. The White House, they're kind of poking fun at the New York Times because they suck balls. But they says, I fixed it for you at New York Times. Oh, and by the way, at Chris Van Hollen, he's not coming back. And here's what they did. I'll read their headline, and then I'll read what Trump did to it. So, Senator meets with wrongly deported Maryland man in El Salvador. Trump says, Senator meets with deported MS-13 illegal alien in El Salvador who's never coming back. Needless to say, he's never coming back. And we are not the same. Trump meets with Angel Mom as Chris Van Hollen meets with accused wife beater / MS-13 gang member. Here's the Democrats down below. Here is, I don't want to say the Republicans, but here's people that actually care about this country up here. Yeah, I'm actually saying people that are Democrats don't care about this country, for sure. If you're actually publicly a Democrat, first off, if you're like, you've always been one of those people that's like, like the gaslight and everything, right? Like you always want to say something like, oh, you shouldn't say that about those people because, that's right. Like you always want a virtue signal. Yeah, you guys should definitely realize that you're definitely don't want to be Democrats. So talk about virtue signaling. You can start being the Democrats that's not a Democrat anymore. Virtue signal about that. You'll be surprised at what you'll notice and how well it works. And then you can be the cool one for once. Justice Kagan denies emergency appeal to halt deportation of Mexican nationals claiming asylum from cartel. Kagan denies migrants' request to delay deportation, letting removal proceed without court review. Didn't even ask the rest of the people either. She's like, nah, we're just gonna roll with this. Don't care. So that's fun. This Kagan too. Didn't ask the rest of the guys. Just nope. Took care of it. That's done. Want to remind you guys, Healthy Home, just incredible products to keep you healthy. And they do it very well. Stem cells this enhances your stem cells in your own body, by your own body. It does it in a healthy way. And those are cells that can actually repair any part of your body. I noticed it with my shoulder. I had a dislocated shoulder. I would actually notice pain. There was a few exercises, but the one that really got me was the pull down and the incline bench. Man, that one, I would feel it in the shoulder and I would just kind of deal with it. After, 3 weeks, I didn't feel the pain anymore. It kind of tripped me out. Because I was taking the product, I figured it was going to help and whatever, and it did. And I kind of forgot. And I was like, whoa, it hasn't hurt me for a little while. And it is. It's just powerful. So stem cells actually help your body heal different parts. They're cells that are, I like to call them androgynous. They can be whatever they want, though. And if your heart's damaged and needs healing cells attached, I need heart cells. And then your stem cells run in, become heart cells or lung cells or skin cells. Maybe you've got a cut, a burn. Maybe you've got some sore muscles, joints. It's amazing what stem cells do. Stem Active helps amp up your own amount from your own body. It's one of the things that happens as we age. We lose that ability. Balance is a powerful product. I need to get it. I'm going to get it because as we age, hormones, and I don't know, cortisol or cortisone. I think it's cortisone is a hormone. Yeah, cortisone is a hormone and cortisol something else. But yeah, the cortisone's one of them. There's a number of hormones that are not testosterone or estrogen. And these actually, what they do is they're plant-based, is they help your body with its hormone production. It doesn't put hormones in you. There's no hormones in it because that causes a whole lot of problems. If you're taking a hormone supplement, huge problems. When you have something that's actually enhancing your own hormone production and your own abilities to kind of deal with that, it helps tremendously. It's literally a lotion that you put on your like here and you just kind of rub it there until it's like dry-ish or whatever. And then that's it. It absorbs through the skin. It's transdermal. It's done. And there are a lot of people raving about this product. So it's actually something I want to try just because it can't hurt. And the fact that I work out and stuff, I'm kind of curious to see if it helps out just with my testosterone production. I eat pretty well to sort of support that. Coconut oil and stuff like that. There's a lot of good things you can do. Certainly meats in general. There's a lot of things you can do to help in the case of being a man and testosterone. Women, ladies, I'm not even going to pretend to know how to do estrogen. I just know there's a lot of soy products that guys shouldn't eat. Like soy milk, if you're a dude, better stop drinking that ASAP because that's acting like estrogen in your body. That's not good. Needless to say, incredible. Amaze is a collagen peptide, sagging, sore skin, sore muscles, all that kind of stuff. Peptides, collagen peptides is the solution. It's the most popular protein in your body. It's all over the place, right? Prime is incredible if you're someone that works out as well. The energy that you get from it's really, really awesome. It just gives you more energy. It just feels awesome. You've got more boost. You're able to do more, push harder. And it's just, you recover even quicker. It's very cool how it works. And STEM Active for Pets, it's surprisingly inexpensive. I actually thought it was like the price of the human stuff. It's not. It's actually surprisingly inexpensive. But if you've got a pet that needs some healing help, I would big time recommend this product, big time. Like they've been through a surgery. Maybe they've had something happen. Maybe there's some sickness going on. I don't know. This is something that you definitely want to consider if they're in a pretty tough place. If they're, normal, I would highly recommend the Pet Club stuff on a daily basis. That Coriolis versicolor is incredible on a regular basis. But if you need some major oomph in the healing of your animal, highly recommend the Stem Cell for the pets, the Stem Active for Pets. Very cool stuff. Go to danradiostyle.healthyhome.com. That's danradiostyle.healthyhome.com. And again, shop for products. You can join too. I highly recommend it. I would highly recommend the executive member. You can buy whatever you want that fits your needs. It can be as much as just a bottle of Stem Active or something. But it's a better way to get the best pricing. So literally you can buy one product and become an executive member. I don't believe you have to pay a monthly fee and you get the best pricing. You're kind of in it. If you sell some or any of that or whatever, you can make commission, but ultimately you're literally getting the lowest price. That's kind of the nice thing about it. So something to consider, but danradiostyle.healthyhome.com. That's danradiostyle.healthyhome.com. Healthy choices. Gotta love it. Iranian national indicted for operating online marketplace offering fentanyl and money laundering service. This dude was doing this here in the United States, the best of my understanding, which is pretty crazy. They caught him. It's interesting how, there'll probably be some Democrat that's going to come out for this guy and try to make sure he doesn't get in trouble. He's an important person, but he was doing this stuff on the dark web, illegal drugs, yada, yada, stolen financial information. He was a bad, bad dude. Bad dude. They busted his ass, I think. He had a whole bunch of vendors, too. Holy crack. No, crack cocaine even. You go, boy. You go. Fantastic. Trump administration on Thursday ordered a social media vetting for all U.S. visa applicants. We've sort of talked about this, but they're doing it. But they're also adding to it anybody that's been to the Gaza Strip on or after January 1st, 2007. That's going back a little ways. So if you've spent any time in Gaza, which means you've probably been trained by the Houthis, you're not allowed into our country. It's not just the social media. They're going to vet you in a whole lot of different ways now. So we're going to be keeping some of these people out going forward. And it's going to help us remove them, especially once this policy is in place. U.S. Food and Drug Administration's mass layoffs include senior negotiators in talks with the pharmaceutical industry over renewing the user fee programs that fund the regulator's drug review systems. 6 sources familiar with the matter says Reuters. So here's what happened. What we used to have is we used to have a bunch of people that did the studies for the FDA to see if products were safe. That was paid for by the companies that we were testing their products. Now, many would say, well, they should have to pay for the testing. It's only fair. Yes, but when they have influence because they're paying, or when they're capable of maybe adding some extra money to the individual to make sure they get a favorable rating, that's what they put a stop to. Now, they're spinning it like, oh no, now we've got to fund this a different way. Well, the FDA should independently be verifying whether or not these products are safe, and I don't like the idea of the companies that they're testing being the ones paying for it. That just sounds like the hen or the fox guarding the hen house, right? Doesn't sound like that's going to work. U.S. FDA limits industry employees from roles in its advisory committee. This is good. U.S. Food and Drug Commissioner Martin McCreary announced on Thursday a policy to limit employees of companies regulated by the agency, such as pharmaceutical firms, from serving as official members on FDA's advisory committees. You see, the people that we're probably should be very cautious about and the products they're putting out were the ones sitting on the board saying, no, that's good. We think this is a great idea. So the advisory board is no longer allowed to have clients on the board. This is huge. Now, I'm going to point one thing out really quick, too. And this is something that I know is in the wings. And when they pull this pin, this will destroy the networks. This will destroy them, all of them, overnight. And that is when they stop allowing us to advertise pharmaceuticals on TV. 2 countries allow it, United States and New Zealand. When that stops, and it will, Fox News, NBC, CBS, ABC, Reuters, all these guys are all paid for by pharma. That stops. They're no longer allowed to advertise. It is going to be a cold day in hell for those people at that point. Trump revamps Schedule F, making it easier to cut federal workers. This has to do with people that are protected. Roughly 2% of the federal workforces, I guess, has this protection, this civil service protection. It's about 50,000 people. He's changing it to at-will employment rather than this other version. I've never even heard of the other. California is an at-will state, so I've never experienced anything but at-will employment. I think Tennessee was as well. It's the only other place I've worked. So, yeah, it's interesting how that works out. Actually, no, I take that back. I've actually worked a few other places. I just realized. Funny how it works. Anyway, Trump, he's basically changing the Schedule F section within the documentation to allow us to get rid of this. This is going to, of course, be fought in the courts. Expect that. But we'll see. CFPB's latest layoffs have been halted by a judge in a ruling from the bench. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau may not proceed with agency-wide job cuts while D.C. federal court weighs whether the terminations would violate a preliminary injunction blocking the agency from shutting down. The courts are the ones that are controlling this, or in some cases, the people that are getting money from these ridiculous funds are the ones that are like, you can't shut that down. This is what we get paid from. And it's like, yeah, but you're a shit company. So we don't want to keep giving you money. You don't do anything good. Cause problems. No. Whatever. It's all going to be fought. It's all going to happen. Supreme Court stuff's coming. Tulsi Gabbard announces the Robert F. Kennedy Jr. assassination records have been released.
And first of all, this came about because President Trump promised the American people that his administration would be one of maximum transparency. And one of the first things that he did when he came back into the Oval Office was issue an executive order that said we need to release all the documents that we have unredacted on the assassinations of President John F. Kennedy, Senator Robert F. Kennedy, and Martin Luther King Jr. So we did the initial release of the previously never had been unredacted documents related to President Kennedy's assassination. And what we have just released here today is 10,000 pages that have been sitting in boxes within the National Archives that had never been digitized or viewed publicly before. These are documents related to the government's investigation into the assassination, documents related to discussions that were going on in other countries, State Department cables around the assassination, and a lot of the questions and theories that were being posed throughout this investigation. But I think a lot of people, most people have never seen before. The significance of this is huge. It's been nearly 60 years since Senator Kennedy was assassinated. We're obviously not stopping here. We discovered 10,000 pages at National Archives. We sent people out to hunt through different warehouses at the FBI and CIA, knowing there are likely other documents that have not yet been turned over to National Archives. And I tell you, just the other day, we discovered over 50,000 additional pages solely around Senator Kennedy's assassination, that we have over 100 people at National Archives going through and scanning, and that will be the second release that we'll have here shortly.
Yeah, so we've got, again, more documents coming out, a lot of stuff that hasn't been digitized. Maybe we get lucky on some of this. This is stuff that's been found in boxes. Might get lucky on this one. We'll see. Top GOP senator calls out Code Pink, the People's Forum allegedly pushing CCP propaganda in the U.S. Evidence suggests that this People's Forum and Code Pink have engaged in covered political activities. They're talking about them possibly having to register as foreign agents, since they literally are working directly with people from foreign lands. We'll see where it goes. Chuck Grassley's the one that's sponsoring this, and hopefully he can get that one moving. Again, it's still got to make it through both sides of the Congress, which is always fun. Texas home of Austin Metcalf's father was swatted. It's pretty sad. Dude's son's been stabbed to death recently by an individual that they're trying to make a big race thing right now, because they're trying desperately to fire up race hate at the moment. So again, this whole case right now is the one that's creating a lot of animosity between the racists within our society, both black and white, and possibly other colors too, but specifically those two right now. Not every black person's racist, certainly, and not every white person's racist, certainly. But there are plenty of both, unfortunately, as well. So he got swatted. That's pretty jacked up. Hopefully they catch these people. Donald Trump tripped this out. I am proud to announce the formation of my revamped Homeland Security Advisory Council, HSAC, which is comprised of top experts in their field who are highly respected by their peers. It is a big honor to serve on HSAC, and I know the new members: South Carolina Governor Henry McMaster, Mark Levin, Bo Dietl, and Joseph Grutters will do an incredible job. Under Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem's leadership, HSAC will work hard on developing new policies and strategies that will help us secure our border, deport illegal criminals, thugs, stop the flow of fentanyl and other drugs, illegal drugs that are killing our citizens, and make America safe again. Congratulations all. Great. Good job on HSAC. Love it. Kind of cool. I don't know, especially for all my military folk out there. By returning to service, this guy here, Sergeant Meyer, has a Medal of Honor, left the service, probably one of the people that left because of COVID or something like that. They've brought him back. They kind of made a big, how do you do about this? And the reason is, he is the only living member in the military. It's kind of weird to call him living, but the only member in the military currently that is a recipient of the Medal of Honor. It's hard to get. I don't know the story behind it. I bet you that's a bitchin' ass story. I'm not sure what crazy cool thing he did, but that's fantastic. So hua, yeah, love it. And I don't know if I'm even allowed to say that because I'm not a Marine, never have been, but I love saying ua and hua. Hua, I think, for Marines, and ua, right, for Army, isn't it? Am I right on that? Whatever the case is. And then there's other people just probably grunt. I just want to remind you guys, therootbrands.com/Dan Radio Style. Therootbrands.com/Dan Radio Style. Here it is. I actually like the Sculpt stuff. I'm enjoying this. This is supposed to help your body not process sugar as efficiently, if you will. So you pee more of it out. And I actually kind of noticed that, if you will. But I think in my experiment with it, and I'm not a doctor, so don't quote me, but alcohol acts as a sugar in the body. I like to drink. Everybody knows that. I think anybody that pays any attention to me, we could argue whether it's good for me or not. That's a totally different story. It's why I do all this other healthy stuff and focus on healthy, so I can enjoy the fun things too. But Sculpt actually helps a lot. I got it with stuff that had a bunch of amino acids, and I've been bummed about that, only in that it's a powder. A lot of their stuff, Relive Greens, great products, but I don't do smoothies. I need to do smoothies. If you're a smoothie person, frick, they got a bunch of really cool stuff that'll take you down that proper path. I should probably just go to shop here, and let's just make it easier to go that. All products, baby. Let's get serious. But they've got the clean slate. This is just a few drops. It cleans all the heavy metals big time out of your body. Like, this is a very, very effective way to keep the heavy metals out of your body. Very good. Zero In I love. I actually took one of these before I went to the gym, and I did my Prime. Oh man, that was awesome. That was awesome. Like, the fact that I don't have any fuel, if you will, and this kind of makes up for it, and then I'm going to love it. And then when I get that Mike Lindell drink, which shows up tomorrow, oh my God, watch that. We'll see. We'll see if I ever do a show again. You'll know it's a bad idea. But if I come back and I'm all jazzed and talk about it, let me tell you something. Then you'll know I probably have taken too much. Restore is really good too. When you work out, it's a good way to get some of those real vital nutrients back inside of your body. Supports bone health, supports healthy gut biome, supports healthy blood pressure, and provides antioxidants and anti-inflammatory benefits. So again, just kind of helps with some of the joints and stuff like that. You can buy packs where they got it all together. Again, what do we got? Some more packs. The Sculpt. Is this the one I got? Yeah, Sculpt is what I got. This is awesome. Assists in healthy weight loss, supports healthy appetite suppression, supports healthy glucose levels and fatty acid breakdown. This is great. I don't know about the... I got to pay more attention around whether it helps with the hunger. I'm really weird how my eating habits are, so, I don't know. We'll see, because that's part of it. Here's Relive Greens, though. This is just amazing health. Like, if you do smoothies, put a scoop of this in there, and oh my God. Give Me Back My Youth is another one, I believe, that is... also a powder, and this has all sorts of really great stuff in it too that just kind of helps us with the aging process. Again, I like products that are about getting healthy and stuff that actually works for all of us, and me especially. Clean Spirits actually ties into like alcohol and stuff. Like, it helps you deal with if you had too much drinking last night, if you will. Believe it or not, that's a good product to go. This peptide cleanser, peptide serum, a lot of people rave about this. And I'm going to get one of these. I know I always talk about how I don't use creams, and I don't. This is probably the one I'm going to get. I just want it for the bags of my eyes, man. That's the only thing right there, just right under the eye. I might actually be willing to do that because I look horrible. Fortunately, glasses hide a lot of it, but damn, I don't know what's happened to me. Oh, what the heck? I got older is what happened. That was a big part of it. Needless to say, I'm going to check it out. I'll let you guys know if that works. TheRootBrands.com/Dan Radio Style. TheRootBrands.com/Dan Radio Style. Just check all the products out. A lot of great stuff over here. And yeah, get you moving in the right direction, unquestionably. Especially that cleanse. That cleanse stuff's great. We've got potential sale of Americans' DNA and 23andMe database might trigger national security review. That's kind of cool that they're doing this. Basically saying, look, here's the thing. You can't sell 23andMe to a foreign country or foreign agent, period. End of story. At least if it's part of certain groups. Now, I wouldn't trust any foreign country right now. This is all Americans' DNA data. 15 million people have given their data to these guys, which was stupid. But nonetheless, 15 million people's DNA shouldn't be given to China or any other enemies that we have, or anyone that would give it to China, because China has so much control over them, which would be most of Europe. So I don't know. I would say nobody non-American should be able to buy this. I don't know what they're going to do with it. We'll find out. It's cool that they're making noise and all that good stuff. UK is touting a successful test of a new radio wave weapon. It's going to take down swarms of drones. It looks like it would work really well, and I'm assuming the range is decent on it. But this is a large unit, so I'm assuming they're definitely shrinking this bad boy down. But needless to say, this is, truck-based. They could drive them, park them every, whatever the range is fair, and just run them across the border. And then any drone attack that happens, just flip them all on. They're talking, it's per shot, so they can't just keep it running. That might be dangerous for humans, too. But again, 18 cents per shot. Oh, my God, it's like something that's actually cheap versus shooting missiles that are millions of dollars. So it's kind of a cool idea. And get on them. Get on the Brits, all right? Videos confirmed hundreds of American troops exiting Syria. So we're bringing a bunch of troops home. They're going to leave a small contingency there. But Trump, again, making good on his promises. So that's fantastic. Lots of people coming home. Need that. Rubio warns the U.S. will move on from trying to broker Russia-Ukraine peace deal unless progress is made. Trump's like, look, there's more important things we need to work on. If you guys don't want peace, all right, you can keep killing yourselves. We're not going to give you any more weapons. We're not going to be party to this. We're done. We're done with this, which is fine. That's what we needed anyway. If Europe wants to keep this war alive, you keep it alive, Europe. We're going to step out of it, so at least if it does go nuclear, strong chance we're not getting nuked, right? We'll stay out of it. We'll stay out of it. You guys are making some big mistakes out there in Europe. So we'll see if they continue, by the way, without us, because I think a lot of people talk real tough when the big giant dude's standing behind them, right? And they're like, yeah, what you gonna do, right? And then all of a sudden they're like, bro, look behind you. And you're like, oh, shit, where'd he go? I was kidding, right? Like, this is totally what's happening. So we'll see how it all plays out. But here's Dr. Fauci being a dick. Well, he's not being a dick yet. But what he says is patently false, and he knew it.
Yeah, please.
I wanted to ask Dr. Fauci, could you address these suggestions or concerns that this virus was somehow man-made, possibly came out of a laboratory in China? You studied this virus. What are the prospects of that?
There was a study recently that we can make available to you where a group of highly qualified evolutionary virologists looked at the sequences there and the sequences in bats as they evolve, and the mutations that it took to get to the point where it is now is totally consistent with a jump of a species from an animal to human.
I got another
I don't have the
riddle
authors right
for
now, but
you.
we can make that available.
Yeah,
please.
Wow, it's just incredible. Incredible. He looks so short, too. I love that, right? Where is he? Look at that. Look at that. And in first place, Donald Trump, and on the silver medal goes to Mike Pence, or Bob, whatever the hell, Pence, right? And then down here in the bronze, small guy, little munchkin, shrimpy guy. This dude. What are you talking about? That's what I'm talking about. Lab leak theory. This was posted by the White House. We'll just go straight to the source. Whitehouse.gov. Lab leak. True origins of COVID-19. Origin. The proximal origin of SARS-CoV-2 publication, which was used repeatedly by public health officials and the media to discredit the lab leak theory, was prompted by Dr. Fauci to push the preferred narrative that COVID-19 originated naturally. 1. The virus possesses a biological characteristic that is not found in nature. That's that cleavage site. 2. Data shows that all COVID-19 cases stem from a single introduction into humans. This runs contrary to previous pandemics where there were multiple spillover events. 3. Wuhan is home to China's foremost SARS research lab, which has a history of conducting gain-of-function research, gene-altering, and organism supercharging at inadequate biosafety levels. We're also contracting with them through EcoHealth Alliance, paid for by USAID. 4, Wuhan Institute of Virology. I don't even have my camera on. Look at that. 4, Wuhan Institute of Virology. Researchers were sick with COVID-like symptoms in the fall of 2019, months before COVID-19 was discovered in the wet market. 5, by nearly all measures of science, if there was evidence of a natural origin, it would have already surfaced, but it hasn't. So the wet market, as they call it, or the Huanan seafood market, is literally 7.5 miles from the Wuhan Institute of Virology. Likely spread to people around the surrounding area, and then from there, spread larger. That's what we know now. Now, things obviously are changing a wee bit. So here's Kennedy basically calling Fauci out.
I don't look into Anthony Fauci's head. I don't look into Bill Gates' head. I don't say he did this because he was greedy or because he was manipulative. I just lay out what they did, and the story speaks for itself. And, it's a story of people involved in really terrible, terrible, immoral, homicidal, criminal behavior. And using a position in government that he had for 50 years without any election to clamp down these totalitarian controls that were not science-based and that everybody now admits there was no science. In fact, yesterday, the chief attorney for FDA admitted that there was no reason. He admitted because he lost the case in court against a doctor, but there was no reason to discourage people from taking ivermectin. Ivermectin was a very, very devastating cure for COVID. It literally obliterated COVID. And, by depriving people of ivermectin, many people, millions of people around the globe died. And they didn't need to. There were cures for COVID from day one, and very effective cures. Right. But they didn't want that. They wanted the vaccine only. And there's a rule, a little known federal rule that they were all aware of, which said that you cannot issue an emergency use authorization for a vaccine if there is an existing remedy that has already been approved for any use. So if they admitted that hydroxychloroquine or famotidine or ivermectin or any of the 25 existing therapeutic drugs that were very effective against COVID, if they admitted that any of them were effective, the whole vaccine project would have fallen apart. They couldn't have done it. And so they decided that they were going to pretend that there was no cure except for the vaccine. And they gave people a product that was not properly tested, and then now you have a whole generation of kids that has now, got myocarditis, these terrible heart problems in young athletic boys. You're seeing so many kids now drop dead on playing fields. Right. And that we never saw anything like this before. On average, it was, I think, 29 a month globally, athletes who died on the field. And we were getting down to hundreds a month now. Right. And it's, and there still has to be a reckoning. The mainstream media hasn't caught up with the science. But the science is out there now, and it's devastating.
Yeah. The science is finally out there. Been controlled by Fauci the whole time. The guy that was supposed to be doing these things to help us and protect us made deals with these pharmaceutical companies. If he's made money on this, by the way, I'd wonder. I'd say I'd lean in the direction he probably did, but I don't know. But if he did, and then he wouldn't let ivermectin and all these other things be utilized, then that's a crime for sure. And if a number of people got sick and or died from the complications, and that number is any significance at all, and he didn't do anything about it, especially knowing those numbers, well, that'd be a crime against humanity. I still wonder if he's related to the Mangler, Dr. Mangler. I still wonder that. I actually feel like that's true. But I have zero going on that. Okay, so don't walk around and claim it. You can do digging if you find it somehow, but I don't know. But for whatever reason, I just got that feel to it. Or maybe one of the people that worked with Mangler. Maybe it's just because he's just got that vibe. He's got that vibe about him. He's got a douchehole vibe about him too, but it's a little different thing altogether. Luigi Mangione indicted on federal charges in the CEO killing. 4-count indictment against the CEO. They're calling an alleged CEO killer. That's what they're calling it. He's convicted now. Hello. That's called guilty. Anyway, they charged him with 2 counts of stalking, firearms offense, and murder through the use of a firearm, a charge that makes him eligible for the death penalty if convicted. Oh, he's not convicted yet. Oh, he's charged. They just charged him? He's indicted. Oh, he's indicted. Oh, shit. All right. Sorry, guys. I actually misread that the first time. Trump official asked IRS about audit of high-profile friend of the president. He's going to be on my a little short recording with him next week. A lot of things are making sense right now. Poor Mike Lindell's going through a lot. Now, again, I would say mypillow.com/OTF. I mean, let's help a brother out. I think he's definitely going through hard times. Apparently, the IRS is auditing him for a second time. So he's like, are you guys doing this on purpose? And the IRS guy, I hope I got the story. If not, he just got fired. One of the high-up dudes. So they're still trying to fill that slot too, by the way. But yeah, this is a lot of stuff's going on at the IRS. I think this is going to cause Trump to get a little, one, look into it. And then two, if the individual that's in charge of the IRS right now is still doing shenanigans, he's toast. She's toast, whatever they are. This is interesting. I don't know. I think it's I mean, it's like, to me, it's duh. But again, I keep forgetting that a lot of people are just starting to wake up and realize that we're not alone in the universe.
K2-18b is 2.5 times the size of Earth, and it's 700 trillion miles away. The James Webb Space Telescope is so powerful it can analyse the chemical composition of the atmosphere from the light that passes through it from the small red star it orbits. Its chemical signature seems to suggest that it contains molecules which on Earth can only be produced by living organisms, and it's such a strong signal that if it is home to life, it's plentiful. K2-18b is thought to be a water world covered entirely by a vast ocean, and the evidence is growing that it may be teeming with life.
Teeming with life. A neat word. I don't think I've ever used that unless I was like, what team are you on? And I would never say, are you teaming up with them? Would I? Maybe that. Teeming with life. That's very interesting. So British. Texas has experienced multiple earthquakes, folks, last day. Most recent clocking at 3.3 magnitude. Now, again, in California, and people be worried about us, be like, dude, seriously? I didn't even feel a 3.3. But in other places, I always try to qualify with, yeah, this is scary as hell when this happens. You guys, first off, don't build your homes properly for earthquakes. That you don't usually have earthquakes in Texas or Tejas. Again, if you built your house on tacos, I think you'll probably be okay because it just kind of crunches around and you'll be fine. Don't worry about it. But not everybody's smart enough to build their house on tacos. 3.3 magnitude to 2.3, and many are saying this could be in relation to oil. Who knows? Maybe they're trying to blame that. It's hard to say. It's Daily Mail, so they would put an environmental slant on it. Wouldn't surprise me. It can be. I've wondered, there's been some studies suggesting that, but again, many of these studies could have been us just trying to get off oil. There's also a lot of studies and stuff that I've read that suggest that oil does start to replenish back up, that wells that they've walked away from have started to fill back up. So I kind of honestly, but here's how I view it. I think Earth is alive, basically, a living beauty ball. I believe the oil is essentially kind of like sort of her blood. And it just helps with all the lubrication of all the crust and all the stuff. And I think so we drain a lot of her blood out like a mosquito in one part, and it dries up. And then we were like, shit, I need more blood. Eventually that blood starts to come back, right? So that's my understanding of it, kind of. I mean, it's super simplified. I know everyone's like, no, man, it was like a tree that was buried, and then like 10,000 years went by, and then suddenly there was oil. I don't think that's true. I think that's probably not true. That just seems borderline ridiculous, actually. But, who am I? What do I know? U.S. judge on Friday denied Sean Diddy Combs his bid to delay his upcoming sex trafficking trial by 2 months. Apparently, they're not going to let him. I don't know what his argument was. I've been intentionally ignoring much of there's so much like people that were suing and then they pulled it away because their names had to come out, or people that have pulled back probably because they didn't actually have any proof. Like, a lot of things have happened. The lawyer that sparked a lot of this multiple lawsuits, it's the same dude in most cases. He's lost, or they've fallen apart before they've even got there. A lot of it has been meant to sway the public opinion, I think, and I honestly think Diddy's been paying for this to happen. I actually think he's controlling the lawyer that's putting a lot of this stuff together, believe it or not, because it taints the jury pool. So I don't know. And Diddy's got the best lawyers that exist. He is deep state. They are literally going to use the deep state system, which is our law system, right? The bar system, all that nonsense. What do they call that? Maritime law, all that nonsense, right? All that is happening here. And so they're going to throw their best at it. And it's going to go to a judge who's going to slap on the wrist like Mr. Boasberg, allegedly, and all the likes. So, yeah, crazy stuff going on, folks. We're going to keep moving forward. We're going to keep talking about it. We're going to transition as it comes, and we're going to be ready for whatever happens. The future has not been written yet. The now is the only place that you can actually do anything. So do something. Make ripples. Make a difference. That's what we're here to do. To help. To hold the light. To shine it brightly so others understand they're not alone. Where we go one, we go all. It's on the Fringe with Dan Radio Style.